From the corrupt corridors of Wall Street to the lords of the City of London, from the gold markets of the Pacific Rim and the Far East, comes the guerrilla economist. He clears the fog of economic and geopolitical disinfo. Know the truth, see the trends, understand the players. Protect your future and family. The financial freedom fighter, a rebel with a cause. This worldwide transmission has been brought to you by the guerrilla economist, helping the world understand, prepare, and make sound decisions to protect your future and your family. Visit the guerrilla economist at roguemoney.net, spelled ROGUEMONEY.net for additional information and service.
We're live.
Good mythical morning, everyone. It is the notorious, glorious V, the Guerrilla Economist, coming to you live with my main man, El Cuco, who is working the airwaves, making sure that this broadcast is coming out crispy and clean. You know what I mean. And we bring you the news, the views, and all the information important to you. Check us out, roguenews.com. Rogue News on every single podcasting app known to humanity. We are everywhere you want us to be, plus a bag of chips. And with that being said, CJ, what is going on?
Hey, V, what's up? Happy Friday. Doing great, man. Just got back from the gym. Did a little bit of lifting today. Yeah, getting fired up for the weekend. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, bro. I can't complain. You know, I mean, geez, a lot of things going on, CJ. Got some hot tamale information. Hot tamale information. But I cannot share that just yet. I will be sharing it first on the Patreon, of course, and then over here eventually. But I'm going to get I got to wait on some clearances, and once I've been bestowed upon and given the geostrategic papal blessings by the geostrategic gods, then I, as the apostle of the geostrategic gods of Olympus, I will go forth and deliver the message to the people. But until then, I cannot speak. Yes.
Word. Hey, want to welcome all our listeners tuning in, whether you're on Twitter, Periscope, YouTube, Facebook. Welcome. Thank you all for tuning in. And I got it posted early this morning, V. I got the link up and information that we're going to be going live. And so that's a win right there. That's a way to start the day out.
You know, every day is a good day when ScrewTube is not screwing with you, man.
It is. Yeah. It is. But hey, I want to bring up a very interesting topic, and I thought we could get a little bit of feedback from our audience that are tuning in. I'm not sure if you've caught this this morning yet, but this is a very, very interesting. This is going right now. I think it's on every news network, and that's in regards to this inmate. And this particular inmate, he was based in California, and he killed 2 convicted child molesters.
Good for him.
And how this took place was that he was already in for a life sentence, and his name was Jonathan Watson. He confessed in a letter in regards to these killings. Now, he had warned his prison guards. I guess he was taken off of confinement and said, "Hey, listen, put me back in because I tell you what, I'm going to hurt these people." And these child molesters apparently kind of taunted him and other inmates. They were watching like PBS Kids shows, and
my God,
he saw it the first time it happened. He said, I almost killed this guy the first time, but I'm going to let him go. And he went back into the guardsman, whoever, and said, "Hey, listen, just want to let you know that something bad is going to happen. I'll kill these guys if you keep me in here." And they thought he was just kidding around. And long story short, he walked by one of the cells. The guy had the PBS on again, and I'm not sure how he had a cane or whatever, and he beat the guy to death. And then apparently there was another convicted child molester, and he beat him to death as well. So I thought this was a very interesting topic and discussion for us to, to talk about. And, I'm kind of like on your side, V, like these people. And the reason he said he did it is because he knows that the harm that these child molesters inflicted on families, on these kids, and no remorse, and to do it. And he said, "I had nothing to lose. I'm already in here. I'm a lifer. I'm not going to get out anytime soon." And this took place. I think that we owe him some gratitude for this.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's send this man some letters of appreciation and love. What is this gentleman's name, CJ?
Jonathan Watson.
Let me pull this article up. Jonathan Watson, huh?
Yeah, Jonathan, it's about everywhere now. It looks like the Associated Press is the first to, and obviously everyone grabs the articles from the press and disseminate it from there. But yeah, it's just very, very interesting. And let's see what some of our comments that are coming in.
Jonathan Watson, 41, confessed in the letter to the Bay Area News Group in Northern California that he clubbed to death both men in the head on January the 16th at the California Substance Abuse Treatment Facility and State Prison in Cochrane. David Bob, 48, died that day. Good riddance, Bob. May you die in hell, you bastard. Oh, man. Graham DeLewis Conti, 62, died 3 days later at the hospital. Both were serving life sentences for aggravated sexual assault of a child under 14. These guys should have their nuts and their genitals removed and shoved down their throats and then set their bodies on fire. That's what I would do. I'm getting really morbid and sick.
Well, they're dead, so it doesn't matter now. They can't.
Yeah, I know they're already dead. But thank you. Big thanks to Jonathan Watson, 41. Sir, you are a hero. You are an American hero, sir. This is what we need to be doing on the streets. Every pedophile out there. Period. This is God's work right here. One way or another, God's justice will find you. You sick, perverted bastards. You demonic maniacs. I just wish we get a hold of these elites. It'll be even better. We can't comment on the active investigation, Dana Seamus, spokesman of the California Department of Corrections and Rehab, wrote in the mail. Watson serving a life sentence for 09 murder conviction, and days before the attack, he said his security classification was changed and he was transferred from a single-person cell to a lower security dormitory pod at the Central Valley facility. Watson called the switch a careless mistake and said he had protested the decision. Watson wrote that 6 days after he arrived at the prison, a child molester moved into the pod. Watson believed the man began taunting other inmates by watching children's television programming. Watson said in the letter he couldn't sleep that night, having not done what every instinct told me I should have done right then and there. That's right, brother. That's right. 2 hours before the attacks the next day, Watson told the prisoner counselor that he urgently needed to be transferred back to a higher level of security before I really effing kill one of these dudes. But the counselor scoffed and dismissed him because he's probably a soy boy. The counselor was too busy marinating in his drinking a hot cup of estrogen that morning from his soy latte and didn't take Watson seriously. Watson said he returned to his housing pod. I was mulling it over and over again when along came molester number one and he put his TV right on PBS Kids again, he wrote, according to the newspaper chain. But this time, someone else said something to the effect of, is this guy really going to watch this right in front of us? And I recall saying, I got this. And I picked up the cane and went to work on him. Thank God. Watson said he then left the housing pod to find a guard and turn himself in. But on the way, he saw a known child trafficker. And I figured I'd just do everybody a favor. In for a penny, in for a pound. Why not, brother? If you're going to go for broke, you go for all the marbles. Watson's then segregated. Watson said he then told a guard who didn't believe him until he looked around the corner and saw the mess that I'd left in the dorm area. Must have been beautiful. Watson is in a segregated housing while he's under investigation for the killings. He hasn't been charged. Being a lifer, I'm in a unique position where I sometimes have access to these people and I have so little to lose, Watson wrote. And trust me, we get it. These people are every parent's worst nightmare. There we go. Thank you. Yes, Ronan returns. Is this guy running for Congress? Please.
He might as well. It seems like where all the felons seem to hang out nowadays is in D.C.
Yep. See, this is what it is. I mean, I don't know what the whole murder charges is with the 2009 slaying. I'm sure, look, something went sideways. But the instinct of somebody that is as far gone as this guy, Jonathan Watson, it's as far gone as Watson. And Watson knew that he's crazy. Watson knew that he's a little psychotic. Watson knew that he's dangerous. But even in the midst of the fact that you have somebody who is serving a life sentence, in the midst of the fact that you have somebody who has all sorts of demons, somebody who probably had more than likely a very rough childhood, somebody who had to probably deal with different types of substance abuse because that is why he's in this rehab facility, somebody who's been struggling and battling his demons, folks, for a lifetime, where the solace of prison, the solitude of maximum security is the only thing that brings comfort to this man's mind and heart. That even in this state of absolute perpetual purgatory, this man knew deep down inside, in the very inner recesses of his conscience, that you just don't do things like that to small children. Something inside this man triggered. Something began to billow, and it began to become a raging inferno. And when he told those soy boy prison counselors, listen, chief, put down your soy latte. There's these two molesters in the pen with me, and I might just kill them. And they laughed and scoffed at the man. Why? Because they did not, in their demented, nullified, inoculated, bureaucratic brain, they could not comprehend that even inside somebody that is a tortured soul, as Jonathan Watson, there was an instinct to protect the weak. There was an instinct to protect the children. And so the opportunity arises when these soulless predators, these soulless, evil, degenerate predators. And I firmly believe, folks, that when you begin to harm children, you're no longer human in my book. You have been given over to a reprobate mind. In fact, in Scripture it says that once you have been given over to a reprobate mind, that there's no salvation for you. I, for one, am in total belief of that. And it's just not in Christianity. You see it in all ancient religions as well. That there's a point when the humanity of a person has been so killed, has been so shattered, that its visage is not even recognizable anymore. There's a point when the humanity of a person has been poisoned by the very demented, delinquent, degenerate evil that is inside of a person's soul. And at that point, my friends, you're no longer human. When you are looking at a child and you want to victimize that child for the very pleasure of your flesh, you are no longer human. You are not human. And somehow, this man who has struggled with demons his entire life, this man who has struggled with violence his entire life, did an incredible act. He took a cane and bludgeoned those two molesters to a bloody pulp. And folks, there is no solution. People say, well, why don't you just castrate a pedophile? Even with physical and or chemical castration, it has been shown that the propensity for a molester to harm a child still exists, and it does happen. Because, folks, I believe when one transcends into an evil pit within one's soul, as molesting a child, it is no longer a biological, chemical thing. It is a spiritual thing, a rot that has crept into the human soul, an abyss of evil and darkness. And the way you deal with it is how societies in the past have dealt with it. You kill them. That's how you deal with it. And I am hoping and praying that the state will pass laws one day that convicted beyond a shadow of a doubt child molesters be put to death. Rush them into the front of the line on death row. In fact, you can argue that give somebody who's a murderer a lifetime sentence, but a child molester, please have the death penalty for him. Because the level of torture and pain that he has done to an innocent, beautiful soul, a soul that has leapt into this side of eternity, experiencing the very human experiences that all of us on a day-to-day basis take for granted. A beautiful child, the innocence, the purity. My God, many of you that are listening to my voice are parents, and you've held your children in your grasp. You remember the day that they're born. You remember looking into your eyes, into their eyes, and you remember feeling this connection, this resonation, because their DNA is vibrating at a frequency that your own energy recognizes, because it is your DNA. It is your frequency. It is your energy. And at that moment, you realize that you will jump into the very pits of hell for this child, that you would do anything for this child. And that's why it sickens me that you have women out there willingly utilizing abortion as a form of birth control, slaughtering the very innocents, not knowing that they are also killing their own souls, that they themselves have become the harlots of death. They themselves have become the poison of civilization. So, Jonathan Watson, here's to you, my man. Here's to you. May God have mercy on your soul. May God forgive you of your sins. May God bring you into his threshold. And when you cross from this side of eternity to the next, may you, sir, walk through the pearly gates. And may those two bastards whom you've killed burn in hell for eternity.
So the guy, again, with, you said it very well in regards to darkness, and, and he understood the pain, because you think of the victim, the families involved with that. And too many times, there is not enough compassion. There's not enough. It's always about the criminal, protecting the criminal, and not the families in the long term. And it's part of the unjust system that we deal with here in the U.S. And we consistently see this on a basis. So yeah, it's very interesting. I'm glad the news media has shared that story, or else we would have never have known about it, right? So yeah, very, very interesting start to the day when that hit my news feed.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. And there's something we can learn here, right? From this guy, this tortured soul, this Jonathan Watson. A guy who seems to have a better understanding of himself than most men do in this country, CJ. I want you to think about that for a second. This guy had a better understanding of himself. He knew that he was broken. He knew that he wasn't normal, that he was a little off. And he knew he'd probably never be normal on this side of eternity. But he also knew that deep inside within him, there was a strong sense of justice. That's, CJ, even with the most basest of animals. Now, I've heard stories, Siege, of a Rottweiler who had puppies. And the owner couldn't afford to keep these puppies and whatnot, so what he's done is he digged a hole, and he buried the puppies live in the hole. The mother was tied up around the corner in the backyard. She struggled and yelped and screamed and wailed and finally broke the chains free and ran to the very hole that the man had buried those puppies in and dug each and every single one of them out alive. And because of that, the man eventually gave the puppies away to his neighbors and friends. But you see, you have animals that are willing to risk life and limb to save their children. But then you have women, these stupid, idiotic. I can't even call them women, CJ. Worthless female biological automatons that are brain dead in the West, walking in like a bunch of sheep to the abortion clinics, rallying and cackling and laughing and praising and celebrating partial birth abortion and full-term abortion like it's some sort of a great thing. Idiot cunt bags who stand in front of award ceremonies like the Oscars saying, thank God for my abortion. If it wasn't, somebody should have taken a table and put that bitch through it. Somebody should have done that. You see, these worthless wenches who do not deserve to be called women are clueless because their instincts have been colluded. But a killer, a stone cold killer who knew more about himself, CJ, than most people do about themselves, knew that there's certain things you just don't do. And he killed those two bastards because they're molesters.
Yeah, I mean the whole abortion thing, we're probably going to vary a little bit in opinion on that. In part because most of the extremists who push this big religious thing based upon that, they don't want to allow for any type of decisions, and some people say, well, that's just a cop out regarding rape, incest, those types of situations, and they want typically those all removed from any equation. Now, I think what you're speaking of are the people who probably repeatedly do it, whatever.
Oh yeah, I'm talking about the idiots that are out there like how using it as a form of birth control.
And then what I also worry about too is that a lot of times when we pass these laws, we mandate these things, is it allows them for other consideration in regards to who the people belong to. And my own personal belief, yes, I would not do that. However, at the same token of that, I think that there are certain exceptions that do need to be allowed, and in those situations, right? Yeah. So are those the majority of them? Probably not, right? Probably not. But in those situations, so it's a tough conversation, and the Christian right wing of the Republican Party, that for the most part, or the extreme opposite side, don't want to allow for any of that. No, we don't want to hear that. That's the exception. We want to do that. So I think in those situations, my own independent belief in God is mine, but I don't want to enforce that upon other people and how they feel religiously about these things. And because at the end of the day, they live with those consequences. They live with those decisions. That's not necessarily my job to play jury and convict them. Let God decide who decides that. That's my opinion.
Yep, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Switching sides, Siege, what else is on the radar? That was a very interesting article, to say the least. And
well, I want to jump. This is like a complete flip, but I think that we do need to discuss it, V, and that's the situation in Idlib. I'm not sure if this has transpired recently in the past, few weeks of what's happening, but we are now at a stage where Turkey, and we know how crazy Erdogan is, and it's going to get very interesting here the next few weeks in regards to what exactly does Turkey do. They obviously as the Syrian military moves in to move Turkish forces out to rid them of the quote unquote rebels there. Turkey's taking a hardline stance towards Syria and Russia. In fact, there's speculation. I haven't been able to confirm it, but there was speculation that a Russian military was actually shot down yesterday by Turkish forces. I can't validate that's true or not, but in this situation, it's going to be very interesting to see what transpired. And then more importantly, with Turkey being a NATO member, does Pompeo step in to intervene to say, hey, because they're already pivoting. Like Erdogan says, well, we're going to use Patriot missile system. But this could be a hot spot real quick. Like if, and Turkey is threatening, full escalation, with Syria there in Idlib. So it's going to get very interesting to see exactly, what transpires there. But so we do need to keep our eye on that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely, that is something we just need to keep our eye on. I've been so busy, like watching this whole entire market and how they're responding, and the whole COVID thing, the COVID-19, and folks, I'm telling you right now, you want to hear the breakdown of it, just go to the Patreon. See, just links in the description box, or
yeah, it sure is.
Perfect. Yeah, go to the Patreon. Also check out mycbdedibles.com. Where all your CBD needs, folks. Delicious vapes that are safe and effective. Wonderful, clean CBD products. The most delicious, delectable CBD edibles that you could ever have. You can't even compete with how good it is, and the job they do over there at My CBD Edibles, just simply amazing. So make sure you guys check that out. And of course, the Patreon. The Patreon is where I, break down the whole entire COVID thing. It's not what a lot of people think it is. And yesterday I had a confirmation about something. Look, folks, there is an Iranian-Chinese link here on COVID. I am not in clearance to talk about it yet, but once I have the green light and a little bit more info, and I've been given the blessings to go ahead and to espouse exactly what that link is and what was going on, you'd understand that, listen, there's a connection here, and it's not what people think it is. Is there a real virus called coronavirus that has killed people? Yes. And is this the global pandemic that people are screaming about? No. Are people both in the alt and mainstream media hyping the hell out of this thing? Yep. Is there a lot of disinfo and misinfo about it? Yep. Is it a psyop in some regards? A massive psyop? Yep. Absolutely. And there's more to it. But anyway, I'll go into that in a later topic. But I don't know what. I've been so busy monitoring that siege. I haven't gotten a chance to figure out what the crazy Sultan, the turd in the hummus bowl, a.k.a. Recep Tayyip Erdogan. I don't know what's his goal. Like, what is he trying to do? Like, I know he's trying to rout the Kurds, but he's going to put himself between a rock and a hard place because the U.S. is not going to help him. And Russia will be more than happy to put a spanking on the Turks. I don't know what he's trying to do.
I've always referred to him as the candle in the wind because he always seems like he's with the NATO and then he's with Russia, the alliance. He's always been that, and I can't understand it.
He's everywhere.
He's everywhere. And with the coup attempt that happened, a few years ago, you would think he would know who he could trust and who he couldn't. But apparently he hasn't decided that yet. And, maybe he's getting propped up with either oil or gold to continue doing the work that he's doing there in Syria to slow the process down of full takeover of, Syrian forces in that area. But I don't know what his stance is. However, it looks like he's leaning towards escalation. Now, South Front, who, does a great job. South Front does a terrific job of covering everything related to the Middle East. Yeah. They think that he's just kind of threatening, that he's not going to do anything. But just something, I keep asking myself, they putting this Corona thing so in front of us 24/7, right? They get in front of us. And that's a time that we really need to be watching for some other event, something else to take place while something has us captive, national attention constantly in our feed. Maybe that's it, maybe not. But time will tell the next few days to see if there's an escalation or not between Russia and possibly Turkey and Syria.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Siege, what else are we looking at on the radar screen? We have Roger Stone got sentenced, right? 40 days in jail. Was it 40 days or 40 months?
Well, he did. Yeah, he got his sentence yesterday. It looks like he's going to get, 40 months. Apparently, the judge, just literally just said, hey, you know what? It was almost like an anti-Trump thing in regards to Roger. I guess he didn't speak. Apparently, he didn't want to address it. But right now, his sentence is actually suspended. They've convicted him until they're going to review whether or not he's going to get a new trial or not. So that's where it lies now. I do think there is quite a bit of pressure, on Trump to do something, to exonerate, to go ahead and to go ahead and free, Roger Stone. I think that's in part why, Trump kind of did the 3 or 4 that he did prior leading up to the Roger Stone actual conviction. And I fully agree. This whole, how many times have we talked about it? It just gets old talking about this whole Russia, collusion thing, and that the fact that there's still people brainwashed. I'm not sure if you saw the news report yesterday, V, but it's came out and pretty much confirmed that Vladimir Putin is supporting Trump in this election cycle, and that there is going to be Russian interference. I mean, it's like, give it up, people. I mean, if you're an outsider and you're watching, how screwed up U.S. politics is, there's no need to intervene. That bad boy is taking care of itself. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with Roger. I know that there's some very strong, opinions in regards to what does need to happen. What I mean by those opinions is that there does need to be action taking place to go ahead and to exonerate and to remove any type of prosecution of Roger. And I think that's the right thing to do. I mean, this whole information with lying to Congress, how many times has James Comey got up there and lied to Congress? How many information does he leaked? He openly admitted that he leaked. He had a special notepad that he wrote things down, and he gave that to a lawyer friend that's completely outside of the DOJ. I mean, how many times do these deep state players openly admit that they lied? The Andrew McCabe's, the Comeys. I always forget the guy's name from the CIA that pretty much lied, and when it was directly asked by Congress, it said, so is there any mass surveillance currently of U.S. citizens? And he just openly admitted, he's sitting there scratching his face on him, and he lied. He said, no, I'm not aware of any surveillance system of U.S. citizens. And in fact, all that stuff was taking place, and that hence the Edward Snowden's. But I think that Roger does need to be like, hey, you know what? What's he have to lose at this point? It's like whether he does or he doesn't, he's going to get, damned. He's going to get slammed by the media. So there's nothing to lose in this situation. I think it's all gain right now in regards to Roger Stone. Yeah, absolutely, bro. Absolutely.
But we could wait for the Durham reports coming out, Siege. We're gonna wait for that one. Yeah, meanwhile, I think that's what it is. They're gonna wait for the Durham report to come out, and then Roger Stone will be set free alongside with Julian Assange and Chelsea Manning and Ross Ulbricht, and everybody will come out of jail, and then finally we can see the Clintonistas prisoned in Leavenworth, and everything will be unicorns and rainbows, CJ. Unicorns and rainbows, yes.
And it looks like there is some economic data that came out. It looks like 10-year treasuries are at an all-time low. I'm sure you spoke about it on the Patreon, but there's only so much the Fed can do to prop up and to fake that entire market out.
Yep.
And eventually it's gonna catch up to itself. The Dow's down more than 300 points right now. So it's maybe just a small market correction, but we'll see. I'm sure it'll bounce back before the end of the day.
Exactly. We shall see, my friend. We shall see, because here's the deal. There's only so much electronic duct tape in the system, and the system is running low on electronic duct tape, man. It's running low. I think we have a good 4 to 5 years. And I've been saying for some time, there's enough duct tape in the system, barring some major unforeseen event. And a lot of people thought it was going to be the coronavirus. I myself initially were like, is it going to be this virus? I'm not sure. Is it really that bad? Is this some sort of a really bad flu, or what is this? And then as you keep your head cool, you keep your powder dry, and you keep your wits about you. You just watch as the data comes out. And you're like, yeah, okay, whatever. And you move on. Crypto King, my buddy in Japan, says 48D chess. Correct, man. That is correct. 48D chess is being played right in front of you guys. That's why none of us could, them not prosecuting, what's his name, Andrew McCabe, and letting Comey slide and skate. It's all part of 48D chess, man. Unreal. Yep, the virus is blowing up. Cases in Japan have increased, but James, the question is, are you Asian? Probably not. And there's only been one death. Look, here's the deal, guys. How many thousands? You have 700,000 people that die every year because of the flu. 700,000. Oh, your kids are half. Well, get them on my protocol, man. It's you can get it on Amazon. Get them some liposomal glutathione. Increase their vitamin D intake. And make sure you get the vitamin B6 and B12 combo alongside with N-acetylcysteine. N-acetylcysteine. And that will prevent the cytokine storm from going on. And if you can get a silver hydrosol, they make a colloidal silver nasal spray. It's a hydrosol spray that's about 10 parts per million. You shoot that into your nostril, you get that into your lungs, you put it into a nebulizer, you inhale it, you get the that bioactive net positive proton silver molecules directly into your lungs, and that will nullify a great deal of those virus particles. You can get a lot of that either on Amazon and or vitaminshop.com, but go to Amazon. There's a company called I believe it's I think it's Sovereign Silver. I got to get the name of it, but they make a silver nasal spray. Any or if you don't have a nasal spray, get a nebulizer, and you drop your silver hydrosol or your silver colloidal silver, whatever, into the nebulizer. You put it on as a mask and you inhale it. Let it come in as a steam. It'll mist up, and you get that into your lungs. That's one of the best things to do. Get out of the large cities, man. People will spread things like you will not believe in the cities. It's ridiculous. Also vitamin D, guys. Vitamin D, 20,000 units per day is what I would do at this time. Prevent you from having the flu. I haven't gotten the flu since. For the kids, at least 2,000 to 3,000 units of D. Now that might seem high, but it's really not. Your body will utilize it. Push out what it doesn't need. And then, guys, the B6 and the N-acetylcysteine are key. Those are your, cytokine killers. They prevent that cytokine storm, which is how this virus kills you. It creates a cytokine storm, causing your immune system to over-respond, and you drown in your own immune cells and fluids that are building up in your lungs. That's how it kills you, similar to the flu. So you get that. You get the glutathione. Glutathione, folks, most people don't realize that. Everybody's out there seeking plant antioxidants. Plants. I have to eat plants. And all you're doing is those plant antioxidants that a lot of people are shoving down their throats. They don't realize those are they're antioxidants, yes, but they're very anti-nutrient, and they work like poisons in your body. That's the problem. So when you look at the most powerful antioxidant in the human body, it's glutathione. Look at the research. Look at the publications. The peer-reviewed research on it is incredible. And when you get a good liposomal, and I recommend liposomal. Why? Because a great deal of these amino acids, like glutathione, and these amino acid metabolites, like glutathione and whatnot, and they don't absorb well through the stomach acids and intestinal enzymes. They break down a lot of it. This will help shuttle it directly to the immune system where your body can utilize it. So check that out. Also, some alpha lipoic acid, which helps glutathione work better. Pop some alpha lipoic acid, man. So check that out. So that's what I recommend. Yes, and of course, vitamin C, guys. Yes, Ronan, thank you for reminding me. Vitamin C is a killer. It's awesome. High dose C, I recommend a blend. I wouldn't just do ascorbic acid because it's too damn acidic. And as soon as you take an ascorbic acid, it's so acidic your kidney will dump it into your urine. You don't want to do that. But ascorbic acid does serve a purpose as it is a wonderful transport vehicle for vitamin C. So I use an ascorbyl blend. So I'll have ascorbyl palmitate, ascorbyl sodium ascorbate, potassium ascorbate, calcium ascorbate, which are all your buffered C's, and then I'll have ascorbic acid as a transport. So you have a vitamin C blend, best way to get it all absorbed into your body. And that's what I got to say, Siege. There you go.
Just a quick update, because I asked my friend that her son and his girlfriend are in China under quarantine right now, and Jeez. I just asked her how they were doing, and she's reported back that they're both symptom free for over a week now. They're just dealing with life as quarantined people, boredom, and shortened supplies at home as well as the store. Their original talk, or what they were told, is that the virus would peak in June there, but now they maybe in April. We hope so. Millions of lives are suspended right now. And I can't imagine living that way.
Yeah, they're gonna look. Here's the thing, guys. There's something else behind this whole virus release, and I'll tell you why. A couple of days ago, actually a few weeks ago, a company, and it's not just one company, several companies have already 3D protein modeled the COVID-19 virus. They already 3D not printed, but 3D protein modeled. And what that simply means is this: they understand the structure, and you need to have that type of modeling available in order if you are to develop some sort of a vaccine against it. Okay, and so with the COVID-19, so they already have it out. They have this already mapped. So with that being said, why is China so resistant against any sort of research scientists, whether it's from India, whether it's from Thailand, whether it's from Europe, UK, US, Canada, Brazil, Cuba? It doesn't matter where. If you are a research scientist and you want to have access to the hot zone, which is in Wuhan, you want to have access to the hot zone, you're being denied. But wait a minute, if we already know everything there is to know about COVID-19, if we've already 3D mapped the protein structures that are in the virus, why are you stopping us? It is already out there in the public sphere that this thing has, whether it's a weaponized or they were working on the vaccine and these muckety mucks had it accidentally leaked from the Wuhan biolab that's like a few kilometers away from the Wuhan market. If that's already in there, just why not? If this is succinctly about coronavirus and it's only coronavirus, it's COVID-19, then why stop anyone from going into the hot zone? Unless, of course, it wasn't really COVID that was released in the first go-round, all right? Unless, of course, it wasn't just COVID. What if there was something else? And this is what I postulated on the Patreon, right? And this is what I go into depth on the Patreon. What if there was something else? What if COVID was the cover virus to something else that was maybe not biological, maybe biochemical, maybe something else entirely, maybe a prion? That's a whole other ball of wax, folks. Because let me tell you, as now they're saying it's so virulent. So I mean, we are 60 days into this thing. There should be millions dead. And people are like, well, V, haven't you seen the incinerators? Have you not seen it? Are you an idiot, V? Are you a schmuckety schmuck? Look at it. They have sulfur dioxide burning. I went to windy.com, V, and I saw sulfur dioxide levels. Oh my God, it was through the roof in Wuhan. People don't realize, you know what they were also doing in Wuhan, folks? The massive amount of antimicrobial, antiviral fumigating programs that were running in Wuhan. And one of the components in aerosol-based fumigation type solutions is sulfur. Correct. Now, they would say, well, what about the incinerators? The incinerators, I heard it from Epoch Times. I've heard it from New American Thinkers. I've heard it from everywhere. Tom Cotton. I can rely on Tom Cotton because Tom Cotton, he's a neocon. He's a neocon through and through. And they're running crematoriums 24 hours a day with bodies stacked 50 feet high. Have you not seen 300, the movie, when Leonidas and the brave Spartans were stacking body parts, bodies of the dead Persians? They're doing it just like that in China and Wuhan. Not happening. Folks, I got people on the ground. That is not what's happening. It's not what's happening. Those crematoriums are there not only... It's there to destroy biomass. No. Yeah, it's there to get rid of dead bodies. It's there. But it's also there to burn up and destroy blankets, pillows, pillow sheets, cushions, furniture, you name it. Anything that can be biomedical waste, anything that can be done. That's what it is. It is what it is. And with that being said, folks, the gorilla has pandered on. Siege, is there anything else you want to talk about?
That is it. Thank all of our listeners for tuning in today.
Yep. Let not your heart be troubled, folks. Relax, kick back, boost up your immunity, and buy Bitcoin. That's it, and I'm out.